Okay.
Pen.
Good, man.
When you guys are ready.
We're ready.
Are you ready?
We've been.
Oh, sorry.
Who?
Welcome to the Penuel Show. Buntu.
Government name. Are we going government names?
It's not a government name.
It
It's
is
a
a
beautiful
government
name that your parents gave you.
I mean, that's one way to put it. And not that I don't love my name. It's just that it's sort of, it's like a trigger. It's like if you say Buntu, then I know you really know me.
It's because that's the
I'm
name
not
your
from
parents
here.
gave you when they were giving you a hiding. That's why it's a trigger.
Exactly. That too.
What kind of a guest is this? Eh, Baba, we're shooting.
We're already shooting.
Look at me. I'm your host.
Come on, man. You didn't tell me we were already shooting.
Look, Buntu, welcome to the Penuel Show. We are shooting. Please feel free to use your phone. This is a very
I was
relaxed
about to ask, you
and
using
safe
your
space.
phone?
No, it's just notes for you.
Nah, I'm joking,
Anything
man.
for the guest.
Nah.
As we discussed off camera, no liquids allowed in the studio. But clearly all Slim get to have whatever they want.
I mean,
Jeez.
I'm in the shoot.
But please feel free, bro. We're shooting, we're rolling, by the way.
cool.
Just so you're aware.
All right,
I don't know, man. This might be the first time a lot of people are going to get to see you. So officially, I'd like you to reintroduce yourself, at least for the Penuel Show platform.
yeah.
Government name, surname, what you go by, and where you're from.
Government name Buntu Mawisa. I'm
Related to Claire, please let people know.
come on, don't like that.
I'm going to raise it every time until you introduce me to Claire. Claire and I were meant to be...
What? Seriously?
We're meant to be friends.
Do you believe that? But we're not like, we're cousins, but not like the type of cousin where we like, I can call her and be like, yo, she's probably like, who are you? I just know I'm more closer to her brothers than...
That is good enough.
What do you...
Hey, you guys know Pen, Penuel Show, Black Pen. He was wondering if you could interview your sister, and then I'll sort out
Would
the
you
rest.
interview her though?
I would, because of the work she's been doing. I think with Claire, I stand to be corrected. I think she has rebranded. I don't even know if that's the right term. Because she came out as a beauty queen.
Yes.
Pretty,
yes, Miss.
etc.
Yeah.
And then she went into doing like hard work, hard graft,
super intense,
carte blanche,
yeah.
research, investigation. So I think that would always be a dope conversation.
Yeah, man, I'm not going to say I can make it happen because...
Except, Baba, speak to Claire's brothers. Be like, except Black Pen wants to chat to Claire. Me and Claire were meant to be friends.
I'll let her know.
We were meant to be.
I'll let her know. How are you?
Friends.
Though? How are you, Pen?
I'm good, bro. Buntu, Mawisa from Cape Town.
Originally from Cape Town. I moved to Joburg maybe 4 years ago now.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I'm now really starting to like find my feet and understand the lay of the land.
Yeah.
When it comes to the space. Yeah.
Very different from Cape Town?
Very, very, very different. From just the work ethic perspective, the sun rises earlier here. Definitely.
That is true. Cape Town should be on another time zone.
Yeah.
Officially.
Yeah. Right?
But it's not.
Yeah. So that's the first thing I noticed. The sun rises earlier here. People are a lot busier here. And you tend to, look at the room, right? You wouldn't find a room like this in Cape Town where it's Abanabam Nyama, black men in one room, from the shooting to the hosting to like everything, production, everything, Abanabam Nyama. You don't really get that often enough, Ekapa, to be honest with you.
What's wrong with Cape Town? What's I'm gonna catch heat for this. I'm gonna ask it the way I wanted to ask it.
Are you sure?
I'm gonna catch heat. It's fine. I'll take the heat. I was raised on Ubabum Sholos. In there. What's wrong with Cape Town black people?
What's wrong with Cape Town black people? Ooh.
Why can't you find rooms like this in Cape Town? What are the black people they're doing wrong? Or where are they failing themselves? It's a major city. It's an international city. It's a huge tourist destination.
Ooh. It's I don't think that there's one answer to it, nah, to be honest. I think it's conditioning, man. It's conditioning. It does something to your brain. I know because now I'm here in Joburg. It does something to your brain when you see Umdu in Joburg driving a Mercedes-Benz or driving a Porsche, right? Or someone running a business, right?
Black person.
It's a black person running that business. You don't see, and you see that at a young age, right? You see that at an extremely young age. You don't really see that a lot in Cape Town. I'm
asking why. You can be as politically incorrect as you want because it's an important question.
I think it's because they haven't been exposed to it enough outside of like what they're seeing on TV. I'm talking about you're not seeing people that are actually, or enough people starting different type of businesses in Cape Town. Like and because there's a scarcity of inyuku.
Sure.
For not necessarily for everybody, but for Badabamnyama. So it's like, even though we can be in the same doors, we have similar opportunities. It's almost like, if I'm comparing it to Mnyama and Mnyama, like a black and a white guy, they have, when you go to a city and they say you can shoot, and then if it lands and you win a teddy, right, you can throw a ball against us, whatever, right? Yeah. Most white people will have 4 balls or 5 balls. When you have 1 ball, and if you get this 1 ball wrong, it's done. And that's like the mentality in Cape Town. It's like, I got 1 ball, bro. I gotta get this right. If I don't get this right, there's a whole lot of people relying on me to get it right. So I think you always then try and look for the safer bet, right? Because that's all you know. Like, that's all you know because of the environment. That's all you know.
Environment and exposure.
100%.
100%. I've read some articles, and maybe let me start by saying traveling is very important. When you're speaking exposure. Yeah. Never mind you moving to Joburg. Just if we can get more black kids from Cape Town, Durban, Bloemfontein, Rustenburg, Mahikeng, East London, Gqeberha, Port Elizabeth, Nelspruit, Polokwane, Kimberley, etc. If we can get more of those kids to travel to Joburg like a tourist, visit places like Sandton, not for anything else, but for research purposes, to see black people doing things and living. Go to the Joburg CBD. Go to spaces where black people are in control, running stuff, managing stuff, and listen to how they carry themselves. Because I know even the conversation. True. You meet a black person here that speaks with a superiority complex. Don't do that. Stand in. Mark, move.
It makes
he's shouting at
me. I can't be in Cape Town anymore. I was in Cape Town over December, and the energy is not the same. Like, you know when they say it's just in the air, like you can feel by like the way someone doesn't have to, it's not what they say sometimes, it's even what they don't say. You can see by bro, here I'm not being seen here. Like, I'm not being seen from potential to just who I am. I'm not being seen. I'm not. You almost feel like an outsider to an extent. And the thing is, you don't know until you get out. Then you know, oh, Gandhi, this is how this shit's supposed to be. You don't know until. You really don't know. I stayed in Cape Town for more than 20 years, right? So at the time when I was in Cape Town, I didn't know. I really didn't know. It's only when I got out and I got to see, okay, cool, this is how this works. Oh, this is, oh, you can talk back like that. Oh, this is, then when I got back to Cape Town, it was like, oh, there's definitely like a huge problem here.
You're now a free slave.
Are we really free though? Honestly.
I'm going to circle back to what I wanted to say, because I wanted to speak about Africa and different perspectives.
This is mad hot. This is nice.
I want you to answer why your name is triggering, of which I find it to be very beautiful. And you're saying that in Cape Town you feel like you're not seen. And one of the things we pride ourselves in as Africans, and particularly Nguni people, is when we greet, we say sawubona or sanibona. We see you. Nyagubona. And not only you, but I see all of you. We are the people of Ntu. We are the descendants of Ntu. That's why we are Bantu as a singular Muntu. Buntu, our being, our humanity. even when I think of Black Panther and Wakanda, when they ask questions like Ungubani, who are you? It's because we've always been very big on see me and see where I come from. So I'll not only give you my name, but also my lineage, which are the clan names.
Yeah.
Why does your name Buntu, which is such a beautiful name, why does it trigger you?
Different types of reasons, but I think the on the surface reason is mainly because when you outside me being an artist, right? Because I make music, right? So you when you're a musician or you're creative, you're a person of service, right? So as soon as everyone calls you, like it's crazy because I've spent so much time, right, getting people to call me Slim, even Buntu, Slim, right? And it's like, why? Because I had to get people into that mentality that I'm an artist and the person that you're speaking to is the artist, and not the person behind the artist, right? Over time, I started realizing that also as a way to kind of like protect myself, I guess, as a creative, I had to, when someone calls me Slim, I know it hits the left side of my brain, sort of like the creative side of my brain.
I think it's the right. I stand to be corrected. It doesn't matter. The creative side of the brain.
Yeah, when someone says Slim. But when someone says Buntu, there's a handful of people, my mom, my dad, my gran, you know what I mean? My brother, my brothers, my sister, you know, those are the people that I immediately when, that's a small amount of people that call me that name. So immediately just hearing my name like that immediately goes to, okay, cool. Not necessarily trouble, but to say, okay, cool, I need to switch and not think Slim mode.
It sounds ironic because on surface level, Ubuntu is an indigenous African name. Slim sounds white. So you'd almost be like, don't call me Slim. That's my slave name. Yeah. Call me Buntu.
Yeah, but I think because
it's like the opposite where you're like, I didn't choose this name. Yeah. This is actually my slave name because it was given to me by my masters being my parents. Yeah. They love me, but this is actually my chosen name that defines me.
Yeah, true. It's so crazy because my dad always used to say, because Ubuntu means humanity, so my dad always used to say to me, whenever you feel lost or disorientated, go back to your name. Right? It doesn't matter who you are, right? It doesn't matter who you are. Whenever you feel like the world's not understanding who you are, and what your purpose is, right? Go back to your name. So for me, I always try and carry, even though I introduce myself as Slim, I carry Ubuntu.
So it's not even a trigger like in a bad way. It's a trigger as in like, I want you to engage the brand.
Yeah, very much so.
Okay.
Also, I gotta know, like, yo, how do you know me like that?
Sure.
Like, how do you know me like, especially at Gauteng? Like, how do you know me like that?
You were telling me that you were young kids today. You were telling me that you were burning your hair. I'm looking at it now and I'm thinking Slim Shady. I'm thinking of Stan where they peroxide their hair. There's no link to Slim Shady.
There was one of my no, not the hair. The hair was actually an accident that turned out really cool. But the Slim was I used to do like poetry, like high school vibes, and there was someone I'd never named. I was like, I don't know what to call myself. And then someone was like, Slim would actually, BLAQ-SLIM would work.
BLAQ-SLIM.
Like, BLAQ-SLIM. I was like, why? And they were like, I thought Slim because of Slim. They're like, Slim, but also Slim.
Smart.
Right?
That's Afrikaans for clever.
Of course. Yeah? Of course you know that.
Of course I know it.
But yeah, so then I was like, okay, cool. I'm just going to kind of like ride this name until I find another name. And then it just kind of like went. And then I got used to it and then just wrote it out.
So also, it was BLAQ-SLIM there was a reference to Slim Shady?
There was, because he for me is one of the best storytellers as an artist.
Fair enough.
Yeah, one of the best storytellers. And in my music, I love storytelling.
That's dope. No, Slim obviously could mean slender. It is Afrikaans for clever, but I know it's been converted into slang. Because black people say, hey, Slim,
Exactly.
Let me circle back. you speak about Cape Town, and I speak about these kids that need to travel to be exposed so 100%. That they can become confident. And that's what travel is meant to do for you.
Yeah.
Show you the world, show you the best in the world so that you can draw from that inspiration and then take it back home. I read articles at some point that were speaking about how South Africans are so misguided about where we fit in the world. I'm saying this because I obviously asked a very sneaky question about what's wrong with Cape Town blacks.
Yeah.
But the reality is that black people on the African continent are poor in their majority. The poverty in Cape Town is the poverty in Durban, is the poverty in Newcastle, where I come from, is the poverty in Johannesburg, is the poverty in Nigeria, Malawi. The differences lie in the elite brackets.
Okay.
Because the article I was reading was basically saying this, and this is something I want people to visualize. Black South Africans like thinking they are superior to other Africans. You know, like our country is developed, we have highways.
Yeah.
You guys in Malawi and in Sudan.
Which is true. But Isugabi, where does it come from?
So the reason our country is more developed is because the colonizers that came here, after milking the resources, didn't just take them out, but they used them to develop. It is not because black South Africans developed this country. When you start looking at the data, you might find that black South Africans are poorer than other Africans. Because other Africans, you see. Because when other Africans show you their money, it is money they have earned from their trade. When black South Africans show you their money, it's from one of two places. The first one, the sadder one, is from a grant, from government. You didn't earn this. You didn't build anything. You didn't sell anything. The second one is a payment from a colonizer or a colonial company. So when you do the math, you realize a black person in Nigeria who has 1,000 naira, or let's say $1,000 American dollars, that's his money from his trade as a black man. In South Africa, if a black person has $1,000, it's either government gave it to them, or there's a white man somewhere that probably paid his salary. And when you look at the standard of living, black South Africans will say, yeah, but look at our roads. You didn't build those roads. If you see any form of road in Africa, it was built by black people. I'm trying to say this. We do this comparison of the average of Cape Town, black people. And we compare it to the elite of black Joburg people. And not the average here. Because if you go into the townships and the informal settlements here, there's poverty. There's suffering, there's crime.
Which is very true. But it's back to what I was saying though, Pen, in terms of it's what we see. Right. What we do see is, and now that I'm here in Joburg, I see exactly what you're talking about. But
the elites are different here. There is
100%.
Representation in our elites.
Exactly.
In Cape Town, there
isn't. That's the thing. So because there isn't a representative, when you see a Mercedes Benz or you see a Porsche or a guy in whatever car, expensive car, a woman in whatever, you know about, chances are you're gonna see it at Lokshin, so you're gonna see it in the hood, and you know that like, man, probably didn't get it the most. You know what I mean? So it's almost like when you see guys making money, right? You know how they got it was not the way that was deemed the legal route to get it. Right? And now let's say let's say right? And you're seeing the people that you see or that you want to be, right? Drive the cars that you're driving, drink what you want to drink, right? You like, okay, cool. I know that everybody knows who the criminals are in the hood. Everybody knows. So it's like, I know what that guy did to get that thing. So which means there isn't another way that I've seen. That's the only way I know. And you can't blame someone for what they know.
Facts.
Right? I mean, yes, once you grow up, you're able to then, I would say, get out, right? Like the privilege I've had. But more than anything, I think most of the people in the position that they're in is mainly because it's just what they've seen, man. Sadly, not defending
Before you carry on, Uslam keeps banging the table, the poor table. I'm just wondering sound. Is it okay? Or must he cut down?
I can cut down a little bit.
Cut down a little bit. Okay.
For real? Are you sure? It's like too loud.
Nah.
The thing is, you know, in the township,
Come
when
on,
you
man,
see
I have to.
hey, Mama, take
You know
these
why? Because I was playing last night. I was moving my chips. I told you I was gambling last night. Yeah, yo, man, you got a pen. Don't I have a... I have a chip. Just let me know.
Stay away from gambling, kids.
What do you mean?
Stay away from gambling, kids.
What do you mean? What do you mean? Do you know how many lessons I learned just last night?
Hit me.
Some bad. Good one.
Hit me.
That's a very good one. First and foremost, just betting on yourself. Just betting on yourself. That's just like right off the bat, which is one of the hardest things to do as Mnyama. Just bet on yourself. Me, I went there with no, see, this is my privilege stepping in, I'm not gonna lie. But I went there and my cousin, shout out to her, Zizipo, she was like, yo, dude, she knew I was having a bad day. She's like, you have two options. You can either go gambling or to the strip club. I said, hey, damn.
Okay.
I said, damn, okay, cool. So I was like, let's go to Buntu Casino, right? Then we went. And you just, firstly, the betting on yourself thing. I was so...
You said cousin? He was going to take you to the strip club.
Yeah.
Sorry, carry on.
We have a special family. Anyway, so I was watching her play and I'm like, man, I'm just watching how easy, not even just her, but the people around the table, right? It's so easy to bet on themselves. It took me a good 45 minutes. Before. And this is money she gave me. She was like, yo, here's 2 stacks. Go. I said, God damn. I immediately started thinking about exam. All my problems. I'm like, So immediately when I was playing, right, I was thinking, I cannot afford to lose. I cannot afford to lose. I wasn't even the entertain, even though the money it was money to use, right? It was still
to lose,
right?
Yeah.
It was still like, ish. I can't. I had to. I'm not even thinking about the entertainment side of things. But eventually, she was just like, dude, like it's just go for it, right? Bet on yourself. Honestly, bet on yourself. And the people that I saw, just the confidence they had to bet on themselves, for me, it was already like, what the hell? That was just lesson number 1. Lesson number 2, just how we see money, right? How we see money. What's probably more important than winning or losing in there is the type of people that you meet in there. Yeah. It was my first time. And I mean, one of the guys that I met was a CEO of some, it was a CEO of a mining company. Yeah. Right. And I'm watching this guy, like, this is a 1,000 Rand chip, right?
The one that you're holding?
Yeah, this is 1,000 Rand. Look.
Oh, thanks. You brought it as a souvenir. I appreciate you, bro.
I'm gonna get this back. Unless we go together.
Whatever you say.
Unless we go together. If we
Please
go
carry
together.
on. Please carry on. The CEO of a mining company.
So I'm sitting next to him, right? And he's got like, I'm talking like he had these chips, but like at least 20 and 4 rows of that 20, right? So I'm watching him and I'm like, bro, this is at least like 40K. He's like, I don't know how much it is. I'm like, okay. And he goes.
You said that to him?
Yeah. He's like, I
don't know how much it is.
He goes and he puts it forward, right? And then, and we're playing blackjack, right? So, I don't know if you want me to tell you how blackjack works.
You can explain it quickly.
Okay. So blackjack basically, 'cause I'm excited. I was excited as fuck. So blackjack basically works is you got to get to 21. Okay. Right. So you got to beat the dealer. So there's the dealer who's basically the house, right? Let's say I'm the house, right? I will dish out cards, right? Randomly. So let's say I dish out 2 and 2 for you, 1 for me. Right? Yeah. You got to get either 21 or as close to 21 as possible. Sure. If not those, then you either have to beat me as the dealer. Okay. Right. But I take out the card and I say, so let's say there's a 10 there. Then I take out another card for you and it's a 5 and that's 15. Then I ask you, do you want to go on? If you go over, you've already put, let's say 1,000 Rand. Yeah. So let's say there's 1,000 Rand there, then now you're on 15. Yeah. It says, do you want to continue? I ask you, do you want to continue or do you want to fold? Yeah. If you fold and I throw my cards and it's more than 15, I take your money. But if I get less than 15, the money's yours. And it's double whatever you put in, right? So do you understand how confident you need to be in yourself to just be able to do that? Like, do you understand, like, just how, I was losing my tits, bro. I was like, and here's the thing, right? It's all fun and games till there's shit to lose. Yeah, yeah. Like, it's all like, when I was like, you know what? She was like, yo, dude, like, here's the money. Like, just, if you win, pay me whatever you've made.
Yeah.
As soon as I doubled the money, I was like, see, now it's affecting my pocket.
Yeah.
When it was affecting somebody else's pocket, I was like, it is what it is.
Sure.
Right? But I was like, this is affecting my pocket. This is a different, and for me to continue, I mean, I came back with bands, right? I won.
Jeez,
right?
congrats, bro.
Hey, I made 4.5.
Jeez.
Yeah. Come on,
This is
man.
after paying your cousin back?
After paying my cousin. That's what I'm telling you. I'm hot right now, bro. If you want to leave after this
We probably
interview-
wouldn't be having this conversation if you lost money. You'd be like, yo, Pen, bro, I was at the casino. Fuck gambling and fuck blackjack.
100%.
I'll never gamble again.
But honestly, just the idea of betting on yourself, and then we can circle it right back to the original of this conversation about the difference between Cape Town and Joburg, right? It is so hard to bet on yourself, bro. It's
Why do you think-
hard. It's so hard, Pen, to bet on yourself.
Why do you think black people are scared to bet on themselves, considering they have nothing to lose? You know, you're like,
Would you say
I
nothing,
can lose.
though? Would you say nothing?
when you're at the bottom,
But
When you're at the bottom.
But then, Pen, what I would say is, back to the conversation that you said about we don't think we're at the bottom, right? We
Okay.
are the people think of Africa, it's South Africa.
Yeah.
Right? We are the pretty privileged of Africa.
Yeah.
Right? So we've already been indoctrinated to think we are not at the bottom.
so you can't even afford to lose that 500 rand that you have.
No, you can't. Because as messed up as it sounds, it's the truth.
You raise an important point, which is how we view money, which we call the psychology of money.
Yeah.
And I've read a lot of business books. I've met a lot of rich people,
Yeah.
not by choice. I know a lot of poor people,
Not by choice.
not by choice.
Yeah.
One of the things I did learn is getting comfortable with money as a tool. A tool is a hammer, it's a spanner, it's a tool. It is something that can get you something.
Yeah.
You know, understand, like a spanner or a hammer can kill someone, but it can also like build a house.
Yeah.
So how do you use this tool, and how do you get this tool? And how you get the tool is by offering goods or services, which is one of the things a lot of people, because money psychologically has become so complex, they've lost the essence.
Yeah.
Money was always meant to be a tool. A hammer helps you build a house. It is not a house. Now, to get the hammer, you need to offer something. And when we're born, all we have is ourselves. Speak about betting on yourself.
Yeah.
You have your brain, your athleticism. You can offer some service until your service can be a good. A good is you planted a tree, you've got peaches. I will give you peaches for this hammer because I want to build a house. Now everyone just chases the hammer without considering what it's about. The one thing is to remind people that money is a tool for something else. And the something else will always be more important, not the tool itself. Number one. Number two, the people that have made a lot of money, and in particular, I have to reference the Jewish community because a lot of my money principles I've learned from them.
Yeah.
They understand numbers.
Can I ask a question?
Go for it.
What you say some of the lessons? What are the? Can you let me know what those lessons are that you say you learned from the Jewish community? Just out of curiosity.
Yeah.
I mean, I look at them very closely myself, but I just want to know from what lessons would you say, money lessons, have you taken from that community?
I'll definitely give you some of them. Jews are very stingy. So one of the first things is numbers. This tool that you are using called money is numbers. And until you've tried to master numbers, you'll never know how to use this tool. And now you're speaking to a black population, and by black I'm including colored people, but I'm excluding Indians. Indians are quite money savvy.
Okay.
I put them just under Jewish people. The schooling system we have is pretty pathetic. The socialization we have is pretty pathetic. We don't shop on time. Time is numbers. When we have to exchange value, could be peaches. I'll give you peaches for a hammer. How many peaches? No, it's a plastic. No. How many peaches? You need to quantify so that when you come tomorrow, and you want a ham, I'll be like, I won't. You're like, but it's a bag of peaches. I'm like, it's not the same number that you gave me. But you're not even cognizant of that it's a numbers game. Once you figured out the numbers, you realize that in this value exchange, because it's just a tool, all we're doing is exchanging goods and services using a tool called money. I must give you the least amount of my numbers for the most amount of your numbers. I will give you paper, you will give me a cow, which I will take and it will breed and it will multiply. And your money will be chowed by inflation and interest. And you're so excited that I took a good from you with certain numbers that you thought were great, and your numbers are dwindling. And the cow you gave me is breeding and my numbers are multiplying. Tomorrow, you're going to want a cow from me. Your money's going to have lost value through inflation. And I'll be like, with the money you have, I'll give you half a cow. But that's the money and you're like, but inflation and you know. So people need to master numbers. And I'm saying this for this reason. Once you've mastered numbers, it doesn't matter how much you earn, 1,000 Rand a month, 10,000 Rand a month, 100,000 Rand a month, 1 million Rand a month. When you start doing numbers called percentages, you then know how to allocate them accordingly. And part of that allocation is what we'll call gambling. Part of it is charity, tithing, giving to the poor. Part of it is tax, which you're forced to give to government. Part of it is investment. How do I take some of these numbers and grow them? And then part of it is gambling. And our percentages are not the same. If you're earning 10,000 Rand and you gamble 10%, that's 100 Rand. If I'm earning 1 million Rand, 10% of that is 100,000. So when you and I walk into a casino and I'm my 10,000 Rand or my 100,000 Rand, I just put 5,000 because I'm willing to lose 10%. You, if you know numbers, are willing to lose 10%, but your 10% is 100 Rand to 1,000. But you see me just throwing 5,000, 10,000, like, this guy's crazy.
But don't you think already we're not even willing to lose or accept that we've lost?
No. I fully agree with you.
We're not even willing to accept that we've lost. Even when you can see, okay, like we lost. Like you look at apartheid. It's
because you have nothing.
Right, we lost. You can say, once you can accept that you've lost.
Can't say that. You're going to get dragged along with me.
What do you mean? It's accepting that. Once you can accept that, okay, cool, this is the situation. It's like a relationship. Once you can accept, okay, I've been handled, I've been dribbled. You can move on. Right? If you're still trying to figure out, did I really get dribbled? And you let your ego get in the way, and you're never gonna move on. You're never gonna move on.
You speak about a deeper topic. Anyways, back to numbers.
I'm just saying.
Once you understand numbers, no matter how much money you have, you know how much you're willing to lose, and you see the next guy losing a lot of money. And one of the things that has fascinated me with people that don't know money, don't know numbers, don't understand percentages, they will see a rich person throw a party for their child for 100,000 Rand. Oh, so much money. Spend 100K on his 5-year-old's birthday. You earn 10,000 Rand and you go and you spend 5,000. I spent 100,000. You're spending 5,000.
Got you.
And you think, well, I'll only spend 5. Your 5,000 is 50% of your income. If I'm earning 1 million Rand, this 100,000 is only 10%. I am underspending. That CEO of a mining company, that could be the equivalent of buying a lottery ticket based on how much he earns.
Got you.
You can't compete with him on a numbers basis value, but on a percentage. So when he puts 5,000, you're like, I'll put 50. Nah, I want 5,000. You're like, we don't earn the same, bro. And there's no way I'm playing with you at that level because we're not the same. This is one of the things Jewish people understand. That's why they don't go beyond. This is where the stinginess comes from, which people don't understand. And a lot of the Arab Muslims have done the same. One of the ways you'll know how Arab Muslims work is when you go into their stores and you negotiate, they whip out a calculator. Initially, people are like, this is just a negotiating technique. They're actually calculating margins. They want to know at which margin, they want to know at which margin percentage, because they know the cost price. If I bought this thing for 100 and it's retailing at 500, and I'm like, hey, my friend, how much you want? Look, give me 350. They're calculating, look, at 25%, 35% margin, I can still reach whatever amount I'm willing because I have rent, I have my kids. But below that, when you're like, my man, I've got 150, they're like, no, sorry, my friend, I can't help you.
Yeah.
Because you've gone beyond the margin. So Jewish people, there are certain numbers, and this is where the stinginess comes from, where they love investing and growing their money. They hate spending their money because they're like, why? I don't enjoy this part of the game of giving my numbers away. I'll give you my numbers if you'll come back with more numbers.
Yeah.
So it's like 50 Rand for a mug. You're like, sir, you're a billionaire.
Yeah.
50 Rand. You're like, with 50 Rand, I can invest it in the money market and it'll bring me back.
Yeah.
You're mad. So they work with numbers like that and they calculate. The psychology of money outside of just the money itself, to what you're rightly saying, affects almost everything.
Yeah.
The loss.
Yeah.
The emotional attachment, the why girls start selling their bodies for money, why there's the blesser slave queen culture, why people kill each other, why people sell drugs, because we're chasing this thing without understanding it. And I was on Podcast and Chill last year, and one of the things I raised was the way money was introduced to black people was through trauma. We weren't told, jump on the field. You played cricket. Say you were dope at cricket.
I was amazing.
Super dope.
My guy.
Come on.
Don't even try.
You get on a cricket field, you're talking about a white child who has 5 balls to throw at Gold Reef City.
Yeah.
And he gets to stand closer to the target.
Yeah.
The black child stands far back.
Yeah.
And if he waits for 3 hours, they'll give him 1 ball. You get on a cricket pitch and it's like, everyone can play cricket.
Yeah.
Where's your bat? I don't have one. Where are your pads? I don't have. Where's your... Come on. The white kids got the whole bag and they've got 3 bags and they're dead. Like, black people were forced into the money game through hut tax when white people came and they kind of took the land and
I would say to that though, there is a... And I heard this on a video that was saying enough trauma can push you to success. Right, so like what you're saying with regards to, but they do say just I don't know what the just enough is, right? But I know with me with sports, right, and I think a lot of black men with sport, right. It's I went to a white school, right, and I get to play cricket on a Saturday, but when I'm playing cricket, I'm seeing all these parents, bro, all these white parents, right, here to support their kids. They are here day in, day. They're here for practice. I don't even know who the hell watches someone at practice. Anyway, besides Selena's dad, right? But they are there at practice. They're there at games, right? I'm standing there and I'm like, there is no one, right? And at first I blame like, oh man, why are my parents not coming to come watch me? Then you grow up and you realize, dog, because they're working for these guys here. That's why they're not here, right? Because they're working for these guys, right? So that you're like, I just want to finish this game. I became good at cricket because I wanted to get that shit over and done with. Honestly, I wanted to get it over and done with. I was like, yo, like, fine, I became really, really good at it. But when I would watch and I would look, like, at the end of the day, like, yes, there's that, they have that support, right? But how many black kids do you know whose parents have the time to come watch their kids play? Even when you play soccer, right? You ask yourself, why are black kids so good at soccer? My guy, you're playing street game, right? You know, if me and you are on the team and we lose, we're coming back in an hour to play again. So you're playing with that mentality of, if we lose now, we're never coming back in. And this guy, if we beat him too much, he might even take his soccer game home, his soccer ball home, and we don't play for a week. Do you understand the type of traumas those things create? Like, so even if you wanna show your complete ability to another black man, you can't, because you're like, ish, this guy might just take my world right from under me and this whole thing ends. That's the thing.
This is such a layered conversation. I'm not going to engage it because it gets me quite emotional. The parents attending. Yeah. You said black parents don't have the time.
They don't have it.
The right way to phrase it is they can't afford to.
True.
Because it's a money thing.
True.
I wanted to ask, what do you think the solution is in fixing the mindset of a child, black, white, Indian, colored, that comes from a poor background, to be able to bet on themselves? And what does that actually mean?
It takes it takes a perspective change, right? Look at it from a different perspective. I think we don't talk about confidence enough, right? I think so many men, and I mean women too, but yeah, men, right, don't have that confidence. They really don't have and in order for you to have the confidence to chase your dreams, in order for you to have the confidence to speak up, right, even when your voice is shaking, right, we truly believe, back to the money thing, we believe that in order to have confidence, you need to have money, right? You look around, have you seen when a black man is walking and they don't have money? You can see like for real, you can see how you're Charlie. But when black man just got paid, you see it, bro. Like you see it, like the chest is out, the shoulders are out. You're like, yeah, dog. You have that walk, you have that spring in your step, right? Because we've put that kind of value into money, right? We put that amount of value into money. So we think in order to have confidence, we need to have money. But when you look at the biggest people in the world, the Kanye West of this world, right? Love him or hate him, right? The Usain Bolts of this world, right? He wins based on confidence alone. He walks in and you can see Usain Bolts like, they got nothing on me.
Where does that come from if you don't have money?
Man, I think that comes from how you're raised. That comes from how you're raised. Like, I think for me, I caught on to my confidence late, right? But once I understood the power that it has, right? The power that it has. I remember speaking to one of my mentors, and he's like, and I was asking him, like, how do you have the balls to walk into a corporate room and ask for 100 million rand? How? Like, where do you get that confidence, bro? Where? And he was telling me, just work on yourself and see and make everyone want to be a part of. Because people buy that confidence. You look at Kanye West, the Adidas shit has dropped to the ground because that company, without him, it doesn't have that confidence. And when you buy that Kanye clothing, right, you're buying his confidence. No matter what price he puts it in, he can put whatever price he wants in it, because you know by putting on that t-shirt, you're getting closer to a version of your own confidence. That's what it is. So I would say, genuinely, for anybody starting out, have the confidence to start. Have the confidence to start.
You're talking about you can get it from home. And I'm wondering about kids that don't have parents who can instill that. I mean, Kanye's parents were pretty dope.
Exactly.
Donda and his dad, highly educated.
Yeah.
His mom, I think at some point they were living in China or Japan.
Yeah.
She's very articulate, very intelligent, and they instilled this, of course.
Yeah.
But now for a child who's maybe an orphan, whose parents are, my mom is just a domestic worker, my father's just a gardener, like, what would you say to them? Because they're like, we don't have that at home. And even all my neighbors, we all have that broke man who walk.
Look, to be honest, I don't have the exact answer to that, nah? But I would say,
maybe let me ask you a
surround
different
yourself
question.
with people. If you can't get it at home, right? Because you are right, and there's someone there who needs to hear this, right? Surround yourself with people that are able to give you that confidence. Right?
Move towards confident people.
Move
if
towards
you're
confident
in a
people.
place that is low morale,
Well,
be like, let me get out of here.
Get out of there. Get out of there. Because I can tell you for damn sure, Pen, right? You can take from me, you can take everything that I have. Genuinely, you can take the money in my account. You can take the girl that I have. You can take whatever you want. As long as you leave me, my brother, with confidence, the grand. I'm good. I'll be more than just all right. And if other black men could understand that, bro, if you just get that part, bro, just get that confident part in you, and I promise you, you'll attract so much.
Where do you think black men lost their confidence? And how do you think as a collective they can get it back? As a collective, not the individual now.
Yeah. Because we were never made to believe we can be the smartest people in the room. I don't think we were made to believe that we can be. So
is this from white people or even before?
I don't know. But what I do know is it doesn't matter where you go, right? Even what we have as Black people, sometimes we feel like we don't deserve it. We don't deserve it. And when we get a lot of it, we get scared.
Imposter syndrome.
Have you ever played, okay, this is probably a stupid question, but have you played, you know the game Crazy 8?
Yeah.
Have you ever played Crazy 8 with a Black person? All the time, man.
I think I've only ever played this with Black people.
Have you ever played Crazy 8 with a white person?
No.
The weirdest shit you will ever see, right? Like you play, this is a simple example, right? But just follow me, right? You play Crazy 8 with a white person, right? You dish out the cards, right? Let's say they have a 2 or jump or whatever, right? They can start the game, right? And they say jump, reverse, and then they play a card. And you're like, did they just use a jump and a reverse from the beginning? Or they'll even play a 2. First card they play, 2. Right? Even if you have a 2, you probably wouldn't play that 2. Why? Because you're always scared, like, I don't know what's coming, or whatever's coming, I need to be as prepared as possible. So you play Crazy 8 with a Black person. Most likely how they're gonna finish. 7, jump, done. You didn't see it coming, did you? You didn't see it coming, right? 90% of the time.
Yeah.
90% of the time. And it's because we always hold on to the shit, right? Up until the end, up until we're like, there is no ways they have it figured out, right? Play with a white person.
They go high risk from the
just
get.
Like, that's the same
I'm
thing
gonna
I saw.
fucking
That's
win,
the
so let
same
me
thing I
jump.
saw at that damn casino. Like, let's go. Let's go. But it's that scarcity thing, bro. It's so here.
Yeah.
It's so here. It's like down to cards. Down to a
It's a
game
really
as
interesting
small
social
as,
experiment.
down to a game as simple as Crazy 8. Right? Even when you have a 2, which means even if you have a punch in you, right, you'd rather wait. Even though you don't know what's on that, you'd rather wait.
For when you're
You're
desperate.
like, no, I've seen worse. So let me rather. I've seen worse. Right? So that on its own, bro, should let you know mentally just how fucked we are.
How do we fix the collective? Well, outside of
By
teaching
not
them
being
to play
afraid.
Crazy 8
By not
differently.
by not being afraid to start with a jump or 2. And trusting the process and believing in yourself more than anything, betting on yourself. Because we have the same cards, we have the same odds, right? Maybe, yes, some may be tilted more than others, right? But that's literally life. That's literally life. But again, go back to focus on what you have. Also, another thing is we don't focus on what we have. We don't. We really don't focus. We're always looking at someone else's hand.
What do Black men have?
Firstly, we have each other.
Do we?
We do. Look
Do
at this
we?
room. Look at this room. We do.
Black men have each other.
Now more than ever, actually. I would say now more than ever. Now more than ever. And now more than ever, I think we've realized that, bro, no one is coming. No one is coming.
You're saying Black men have each other?
They have each other. Maybe some of them, those guys at the top eating, they have each other. Even though
Within that circle.
Within that circle. Okay. But now Black men are starting to see that, yo, man, no one is coming. And this thing, we gotta get it right. We gotta get it right.
So start there. Realize we have each other.
Yeah, realize we have each other.
What else do we have? Well, good skin that doesn't easily get sunburned.
Yeah, that too. What else do we have? I'd have to think about it.
That's tough, no?
Yeah.
And it's kind of painful.
It is.
It's painful that you have to think about it.
Yeah.
You spoke about, or we spoke about moving away from places that have low confidence.
Yeah.
And now you're speaking about how you've moved to Joburg and how when you go back to Cape Town, the energy is different.
Very.
So it's almost like a high confidence person going back into a low confidence space and you're like...
Yeah, fully.
would you say one of the things is for people, of course, to move? You've moved, but you're now almost selling out in the sense that you almost don't feel comfortable at home anymore. And if you as Ntwana Sekapa doesn't want to be at home anymore with the low confidence people, who is meant to go back and try and assist these people, lift them up, teach them to bet on themselves, get them to understand the psychology of money? Are you planning to go back at some point and do the hard work? Because it's hard work dealing with low confidence people. It's easier to be in high performance.
It is.
Everyone is hyped.
Yeah.
I'll give 50,000 now, bring my Bugatti, we'll make it.
Yeah.
Nah, but it's like everyone's waiting for you. Buntu, we're waiting for you.
Would I go back?
Do you feel it? Do you even feel a responsibility to go back?
Not really. Not really. I know the noble thing would be to say, yeah, I do, but not really. Even though I don't necessarily want to go back, but I want to pull as many people out as I possibly can.
Pull them out.
As possibly can. Yeah, I do.
But that means you leave Cape Town almost worse, because it means only the worst people are going to remain.
Here's why I say that, right? Because I don't think I can get it done by myself. But if I pull one by one, we have 10. And that 10 pulls up another 10 or whatever the case may be. And then we are 100. And then we can go back there as a unit. But going back there myself, come on. How many have tried? I've seen that game. How many have tried going back one man? It doesn't work. It doesn't work. You deal with more hate. You sound like you better, right? But if you speak, but that's one voice speaking. But if it's 100 voices speaking, the same thing, right? And it's not just you. So for me, I'm pulling out as many as I can.
Pull out game.
I'm pulling out as many as I can, actively.
Do you think we have enough talented, successful South Africans who have pulled out of South Africa, gone abroad, become successful to a point where we can call them out and be like, guys, please unite and come help us? Stop pulling, let's say BLAQ is pulling a DJ, Trevor Noah's fetching a comedian, Tusombedu's fetching a young girl.
Yeah.
Like, guys, please come together and come back and collectively build something special. Do you think we have enough of those people? And if we don't have enough, do you think in time we will have enough? And do you think they will ever come back?
I think they will. I don't think we have enough. And I think even if there's a good amount, they not in the same spaces, right? And we don't actively see them together. We don't actively see them together enough. I mean, how many videos, how many pictures do you see with Kevin Hart, with Jay-Z and P. Diddy and Tyler Perry? These people are not in the same industry, right? But they understand that, we speak in the same voice. Yeah. Right? We speak in the same message, right? But you're not going to see a Trevor Noah or the Black Coffee.
I once saw a picture, Zakes Bantwini, DJ Spoos, Java. You've seen that picture? A lot of black South African men. It looks like they were trying to copy what P. Diddy and the boys do. Yeah. But maybe it was just for optics. And maybe there wasn't actually like a plan to actually... Yeah. And the question is, how do we get it? I mean, Spoo himself, Robert Marawa, Fresh, and Thibaut Touch were meant to collaborate, I think, on an online radio platform, I think. Yeah. It didn't quite work. I'm sure there are probably reasons, but it's like, should they not continue to try? Because then at least it's not one voice.
But it's easier to try when there's also the people that are watching you try know that you have their best interest at heart. I think Abanamanyama don't believe that another black person has their best interest at heart. I mean, granted, you look at the ministers and all this other shit going on, right? But it's hard to believe that they have their best interest at heart, right? Some people find it hard to believe you have their best interest at heart. You can say what you want to say, right? And you can sound how you want to sound, but they're like,
sometimes even when you do.
When you do.
I'll tell you a small story. I've been doing charity work for over 15 years. 15. 1 5. I've been in, I'm also old. I've been in communities where you get there, you host the soup kitchen, you invite the children, you feed them. And then you're like, look, we need to take photos. We need to build a database so that we can go back and raise funding. Because a lot of the funders want to know, where are these kids? What kids? You're lying. And you're like, these are the kids. This is the database. These are the pictures. When you want to do that, the people in the community is like, no. We can see you've done good things for our kids today, but we're not giving you their details because you guys are going to go chow money with them using their intel, which is stuff that has happened. It's not like they're just crazy for saying it, but it's even when you're doing good, people will still be like, no, this one, he's probably feeding us today because there's some money he's going to get from ANC somewhere.
So then how does it end? When does it end?
Do you believe in the black child? Do you believe in a black agenda? Or are you like, bro, I'm slim. I'm trying to become great in my life. I'm trying to succeed. And if there happen to be black kids I can work with, move with, dope. If not, I don't give a fuck. White, Indian, Chinese, Japanese, if we're on the same wavelength, let's move.
That's a tough one, bro, because I still do. I do. Even though it's to my own detriment sometimes, I do. Right, because, and I've realized this is what I'm about to say. Coming full circle, I realize it makes me a terrible entrepreneur, which is another fucking conversation. But a lot of the times, we become empathetic, sympathetic, Buntu, right? Because we always see ourselves in another black person. Right, and it's like, ish. I understand that thing, so I'm gonna let it slide. I'm gonna let it go, right? But you don't know the habit you're developing in that person by not stopping the buck, by not calling each other out and not saying, yo, you don't do that. If you're gonna look at me different from this one thing that you feel is wrong after I've said 100 right things, then you have a bigger problem. Right? But I feel like more than anything, when you try to the best of your ability help as many black men, as many black children as possible, you end up walking out of that situation even more traumatized. There's people I know that I know they are on a daily basis truly fighting, trying to save the black child. But does that person want to be saved even? And what's their version of freedom also? You say, I want to save the black child, but what's that person's version of, okay, now I'm officially saved, now I'm officially free? You may think you have saved him, right, and he's officially free, but his version of free was, I wanted to be a conquer. But you guys never had those conversations.
Have you read, there's a Harriet Tubman quote which says, I would have freed more slaves if they acknowledged that they were slaves and wanted to be free. Exactly. Have you been exposed to well-off white people in Joburg? And have you been exposed to well-off white people in Cape Town?
Yeah, in Cape Town.
Not in Joburg?
Not in Joburg.
I was going to ask you to compare if they're any different.
Not enough.
You said in Cape Town?
In Cape Town, yeah. It's so crazy because I'm like I spend time in Lokshin, but like I'm middle class. Honestly,
cheese boy.
I went to 100%, and I own it.
When we're depressed, we go to the strip club.
That's the
to the casino.
That's the
Jeez.
Own it, bro. Own it. So for me, when I had at the time, it seemed very disorientating, but because ngihlala suburbs eKapa, right? But like in Cape Town, the way Cape Town is set up, right? Everything is between colored and black people. Everything's a rail way away, right? So next to Guguletu will be Manenberg and Hedefeld. So Guguletu's black, Hedefeld is colored. Mitchell's Plain and Kailicha. It's a railway way. Everything's a railway way. And then on the outskirts of Cape Town is where the white people stay. So all the black people are
contained.
Yeah. So
design.
Whenever you see whoever wins, whatever political party wins, you know, it's that side of the railway that's getting, which is pretty messed up. But me, I was lucky enough to be able to spend time with my grand Lokshin, who stayed at Kukuletu. But I would go to school in Pilots, right? So I got an opportunity to see both sides, right? And at first it was weird because I go to a location, I go to my grand for the weekend, right? And it's like, here's the coconut.
Sure, you're not black enough.
Exactly, right? Then I go back to school and I'm with the white kids, right? And they're like,
you're not white enough.
Exactly, right? But what was so crazy, and my dad was a principal, right, for over 35 years. And I remember having a conversation with my dad, and he would hate me going to his school because his school was in Nyanga, one of the most dangerous townships in the country, if not the continent, right? And I remember I told him something that he was like, what? I was like, do you know, not specifically at Pilots, the school, right, because I'm not trying to, not there, but I see more drugs in quantity in white spaces than in black spaces. And he was like, what? How? Like, yeah, if I go to Kuguletu, we're opening one beer and we all drinking from that beer until it's done, right? And we're smoking one cigarette and we're passing it on, right? But when I chill with the white guys, it's like, yo, what do you want to drink? What do you want to drink? What do you want to drink? What do you want to smoke?
Come on.
You know what I mean? Right? So that's why you really hear overdose in the hood. Overdose.
There isn't enough quantity. It's just puff and pass.
Honestly, right? But that kind of just also showed me that, like, man, our parents were so, they were thinking, it's better to
send you into that space,
right? Because it made sense, right?
Yeah.
But not knowing that, like, yo, but I'm seeing what you're afraid of, I'm seeing it in its highest quantity. Where I'm at, I'm seeing it in its highest quantity, right? As opposed to there where they're not gonna let me, even if I drink, they're not gonna let me go over. They're like, hey, yo, I know your mom, I know your dad. Your dad knows my mom, right? So there's still, as I said, man, there's still the lessons in that, right? I'm not saying Lokshini is all good and well, no, right? But I'm saying whatever predicament you're in, whatever cards you're dealt, right? Bro, find what works for you. Find what works for you.
I want to go back to the wall of white people. If you could send them a message, considering the state of the townships, the state of black people and colours in Cape Town, I always get triggered and gaslit when I hear the DA speak about how the Western Cape is so great. And I'm like, motherfuckers.
Yeah.
If you could send a message to the wall of white people you've met, or any wall of white people in Cape Town, considering that you're saying, I had to leave Cape Town to come and thrive in Joburg, what do you think they are doing wrong that they could potentially change to allow black and coloured kids in the Western Cape to thrive? Not to the detriment of white, but almost to assist white. Because one of the things I've realized in this country white people have, they have some weird scarcity mindset as well. It's weird because they kind of better off. But it's almost like if we let black and coloureds and some Indians come up, we will lose, versus if we let black and coloured and Indian rise, all of us as a country can now dominate other countries and we'll all become richer.
Yeah. I think a good place to start, it's a difficult question, but a good place to start, man, is they need to understand us as Abana Bamnyam. And I think the place to start there, to be honest with you, is language, right? I think there's a, you can try and get someone all you want, but you're not gonna get them. You're not gonna, there's a, no matter how much white people can say, we want our kids to understand other black kids. Do you notice how they do not, they stray away from getting them to understand, getting them to understand our languages. Because once you know someone's language, you can empathize with them. There's certain things I can say in English and there's certain things I can say in Xhosa that are just not gonna hit in English. They're not, right? So I think one of the best places to start is if we can speak the same language, even if we don't speak the same language, because that's been a fight that we've tried to start working, right? But if we can understand each other, if we get to understand each other, we'll be able to empathize with each other. And once we're able to empathize with each other, I think there's room for growth there.
You're saying white people need to learn the languages because all they're doing is they're like, I want to understand you.
Yeah, I want to understand you.
Explain it to me in my language.
Explain
Explain it to me in my language. I want to understand you.
Yeah.
But explain it to me in my language.
Still, do you get what I'm saying? And no matter how much I try and explain to you, bro, do you listen to these words? Poverty, inhlupeko. Like that sound you can hear about, bro. Like I can't, when I'm telling you, bro, I'm in poverty, my dog.
It sounds glamorous. The poverty of the youth and the...
Exactly. But once I can say it to you in my language, I can paint it to you as vividly as possible. But are you ready to actually like receive that painting? Are you ready to receive that? You can say, yeah, I wanna listen to you and I wanna hear you, but to what?
I bought into this Nelson Mandela Rainbow Nation kak. And at some point in high school, I was one of the head prefects, and I remember pitching to the school that we need to do exchange programs. I was like, if we're serious about nation building, the white kids need to go and visit the townships. They need to do exchange with the black kids from the township. The black kids must come and study here and stay at your home. And you must go and study at the school and stay at their home. It's not going to change the world. But I promise you, when that white kid wakes up in a 4-room and hears that someone was shot last night and then has to go to school and realize that some of the teachers are this and that and sees the landscape. When they go back to their nice schools and later on in life, when people ask them, Mr. John Steenhuisen, what do you think? It's not just a report. It's like, yo, bro, I used to visit Inyanga because we do exchange programs throughout high school, and I remember I was sitting with Joshua Rubin, who's I think the biggest podcaster in Cape Town, and he used to be addicted to drugs. He's clean now and he's in a process, but he spends a lot of time with the colored areas and the guys who are the gang leaders and stuff. And what you were saying about exposure, when you were speaking about being exposed to higher level black people, for some of these white and some of the black people that are rich in Joburg, at least, when you get exposed to other people in other spaces, your perspective completely spins.
It changes.
When someone's like, I'm sorry I'm late, taxis. And you're like, hey, I remember waiting for an hour because the taxi association was having a meeting and there was a long queue and you're like, we're late. And the drivers were like, we don't give a fuck. So when someone's like taxi or never mind waiting, I had to catch 3 taxis because you now know where I live. You now know that I have to catch the train and the taxi and I have to wake up at 3:30, 4. You had to drive 10 minutes. Spoo, I don't understand why you're late. Sorry, taxis. No, you must catch an earlier taxi. Like, okay, bitch.
Yeah, exactly.
You touched on entrepreneurship. If you can touch on entrepreneurship, I don't know how much time we have left. Entrepreneurship and your ambitions in music.
I'm learning that. I learned that I'm a terrible entrepreneur. It was one of the saddest fucking moments for me because I'm like, yo, dog, I want to be an entrepreneur so bad, right? I'm getting there now, right? But I'm realizing the harsh realities. That shit is not for everybody. That shit is the most glamorized, poetic bullshit I've ever seen.
BLAQ-SLIM.
That shit is hard, right? Especially, and this is not me trying to, man, it's harder for men. For umnyama, inzima lawe. Inzima pen. Reason why I'm saying that is because I started a business, right? I don't mind even telling you about it. I was making extra money, right? And I was like, let me start an Uber Eats business, right? And I was like, yo, let me buy bikes and then rent them to own them to an Uber driver.
Scooters.
Yeah, the scooters, right? I know it's a passive income. It's not that bad. And it just looked like this is the perfect idea, right? I mean, you buy a bike, you get a driver, right? And then boom.
Come on,
easy.
man.
That's money.
It's not rocket
you get
science.
Paid every week. I'm like, this is easy, right? 1, you're dealing with another human being.
Come
That is
on.
never easy.
That's not one. That's one and the last number.
You're dealing with another human being, right? And I learned that you do not employ someone out of desperation. Because when desperation changes, they change.
Their desperation.
When
Goes
their
back to what you were
desperation
saying,
changes.
that you see yourself in
Yeah.
them.
So I would give the guy the bike, right? And this guy would, and the man is supposed to come in on a Wednesday, right? Wednesday, he calls and he's like, boss, I'm having a problem with this thing. I'm already like, don't even call me boss, bro.
Sure, call me Slim.
Yeah,
We're
dog.
human.
Yeah, see that
Ubuntu,
already. I
Ubuntu.
should have told that. Stay on that, boss.
Ubuntu, call me
Stay on
Slim.
that, right?
Come on.
He's like, yo, don't call me boss, bro. It's chill. Like, it's fine, right? And he's like, yeah, I'm struggling with this. I'm like, it's cool.
I understand.
I understand, because when I got to Joburg, I remember that problem, right?
Yeah.
Right? And some people know to pinch that, because that's going to get that reaction, right? So I realized I was so freaking empathetic, right? Which is, like, I spoke to a really, really rich person who's a friend of mine, and they were like, and I was like, how do you become a good entrepreneur, right? And stay a good person? It was like, it's impossible.
Jeez.
It's impossible. You cannot be a good entrepreneur and still be a good person. You can't. All these things that you see me buy, right? Whether it's the cars, the house, it's to sweep under the carpet all the fucked up shit that I've done. That's the reality of it. Not many people are going to tell it to you like it is, but that is the reality of it. You cannot be a good person, right, and be an entrepreneur. You can try, right? You can try, and you will lose a lot of money. Ask me, I would know. You would lose a lot of money. So I was so fixated on I wanna be an entrepreneur, but I also wanna be a good person. I was always like, I wanna be a good, and that's most of us. We wanna stay. We wanna show people that we have not changed, right? Like, change is bad, right? We have not changed. So I'm gonna still try and be a good person. And what would my mother do? How would my mother see me if someone needed, if they were 50 Rand short on my money and I was down on them, right? What would my parents think of that? That is no time to be thinking about what your parents would think. That is survival mode. So one of my friends actually said something so messed up. Pusher, actually. I saw you interviewed her.
Yes, about Pusher.
Yeah. BA, Pusher.
Yeah.
She actually, so she was like, and I told her, like, yo, man, I can't seem to balance this entrepreneurship and still be myself thing.
Yeah.
It's like, you see, your problem is you haven't been hurt enough. See, if you've been hurt enough, this won't be a problem. It won't be a problem, because you have to, unfortunately, in business, you have to go to that dark place, that trauma place that we spoke about. You have to go to that place when need be. You always have to be ready to go back to that place. Unfortunately, you have to save yourself.
And maybe even to save your business.
Exactly.
Fuck.
Exactly. So
Sorry, I'm busy writing notes while you're speaking, so I don't interrupt you.
No.
I'm trying to learn. I'm going to get like a little notebook and a pen. So I write down notes.
No problem. So once I learned that, okay, cool. And I spoken to one of my mentors about it. And I'm going to try and explain this quickly. But he tried to explain this when you have a business, right? You gotta carry more than one hat, right? And when you carry more than one hat, you need to understand that hat is that hat, and don't integrate that hat into another hat. So if it's just you, Pen, running this business, right? Let's say you're running the Uber business, right? You need someone who is basically in charge of the vision of the business, right? That's one person, right? Then you need the operations person, then you need the finance person, right? The vision person is you approach your customers as the vision person in the beginning of the week to say, yo, bro, what are your goals for the week? Right? How do they align with what we're doing? You know what I mean? How are you feeling? Is your mental health in the right place? Sure, sharp, right? Good luck for the week, right? Your operations person, make sure that this thing is operating, right? That you have the tracker, you have insurance in place, things go wrong, right? That's a different hat from the vision hat. You don't ask about operations when you have the vision hat on, right? Then you have the finance person. When you have your finance hat on, you don't give a damn about that guy's vision. It has nothing to do with vision time. It has
everything to do with the money
time. Bro, it's time to collect. We spoke, and you can go back and say, bro, if the guy says, I don't have the money, you say, hey, we spoke about this in vision in the beginning of the week, where you were telling about your vision and your goals, and you said, this is how you're going to do it, this is how you're going to make money. Now, you didn't meet that. That is not my problem from a finance space. I need the money. So you need to know when to put on which hat, because a lot of the time, we are putting on the vision hat when it's finance time. And
it's okay if I don't have the money. I still want to change the world.
When it's operations time, right? We need to know that each hat plays a different role, and the role that hat plays, you need to make sure that when you're in that mode, you're in that mode. So that would probably be the best advice I could give on my journey to still trying to be an entrepreneur.
How long did it take you from when you started to where you realized you suck?
2 months.
2 months.
3 months. After 3 months, I was like,
3 months.
Sugile pen.
This is so disappointing what you're telling me.
3 months to realize I suck. But no, I got up though. I got up, but it took me 3 months because I had to get over all these qualities.
Such a pop story.
What?
I have to scrap all my notes.
Come on. But it's the reality though, because I had to chip out those things. I had to chip out those qualities to say, yo, you can't be this person now, right? There's a time to be a good person. And I think in my heart of hearts, now Buntu. So
which is why you'll always be poor.
Don't say that, man. Don't put that shit in the air. Why would you say that?
You said you have Ubuntu. You put it in the air.
Yeah, but I'm not saying.
I must lie. Sorry. With your Ubuntu, you will become very successful.
Absolutely.
The first points that came up while you were speaking was, did I just lose it now? But it was about this empathy thing. And I wanted to say, one of the things that has frustrated me studying and learning business and meeting entrepreneurs and business people is they speak about open door policies, being relatable with your employees, paying people a good wage. Those conversations can only be had once your business is big.
Exactly. Yeah.
We as small business owners are not told these things.
Yeah.
At the lowest end, if you want to make money, hierarchy, slave, master, I am the boss, you're the worker. I don't give a flying fuck if your taxi was in an accident. It's sad, but it's almost the nature of the capitalist system that we have in the world today, because we didn't create it.
Yeah, true.
If we created it on the principles of Ubuntu, it would be abundance. Everyone would be okay. True. But unfortunately, in the system we have, you cannot be rich if other people are not poor. It's just designed like that.
Economics.
I cannot be king if I don't have subjects.
Yeah.
It's just. Yeah. But at the lowest level, and that's why America and Donald Trump. That's why Americans outsourced the filth to the Chinese and the Vietnamese at some point. We at Apple and at Google, we have our cafeterias are free and you can cycle to work. When you look at where the phones are being made, when you look at where the lithium batteries are being mined, there's no open door policy here. When you have maternity leave, it's 12 months and we fuck that. And I've said before that you cannot build a first world economy. This is a country, a continent, a neighborhood like Stellenbosch, a family like the Mutsipes, your own immediate family, you, your wife, your kids. You cannot build a first world economy without slave labor. The question becomes, where does it come from? Because a first world country like Switzerland, which has the highest GDP per capita, the wealthiest per person, they are wealthy because all of the dirt is everywhere else outside of Switzerland. The wealthiest neighborhood, like a Stellenbosch, we'll speak about your Capitec, Nabo Shoprite, Nabo Pep. Their customers and everything are in the townships, in the poverty areas. All the money flows to Stellies. The families, I use the Mutsipes as an example, but let's say the Ruperts, the Oppenheimers. You're wealthy because other families have to wake up in the morning, catch trains and come mine and come work, and they go home with taxis at 9 at night. You as the individual, you're like, but in my family, my kids, I make sure they eat gluten-free, rye bread, and my wife, you know, we go for counseling, and we're healthy and we treadmill, and you're like, I'm good. You're like, you work for a finance house, which pays you 200,000 rand a month, but you guys are invested in companies in the DRC, in Sudan, in Vietnam, in Bangladesh, and India, where there are atrocities. So it's all hidden. When your kids rock up at Saint Banbani, they don't know that the black lady that's cleaning and the gardener, where they come from. And frankly, they don't care. So when you're building a business at the beginning, these were the things we were not taught. At the beginning, everything has to be hierarchy. I had a fish and chip shop. I had Zimbabwean ladies working for me.
Oh, for real?
Hey, boss. I was 26, bro. These ladies were in their late 30s, 40s.
Don't do that.
Please call me Pay. No. At some point, we had a clash with Pay. And eventually, I was like, call me boss. Because they were also like, thank you. You cannot have that at the beginning. Later on, guys, let's share. It's our business. It's, you know, we're part of the, fuck all of that. At the bottom.
We're gonna seem like assholes right now, by the way.
No. Look, this is the information and education that people need to hear. Because if they don't do it, on the other end of this slavery thing is theft. Because you're either running it at the beginning like a slave master, or you're stealing somewhere. So that you can have the open door policy and the what. Or you are in the type of industry which allows luxury goods. We sell mugs for 1,000 rand a mug because it's handcrafted by the ladies and the ladies, we pay them well. The people that buy, because the slavery is always hidden. You, from the get, luxury goods. If you look at, for example, the two biggest sneaker brands in this country, Buntu and Trip, I can only imagine the margins they make. Let's say they get a sneaker for 200 rand and they sell it for 1.5. They've got 1,300 rand to play with of each sneaker pair. So they can pay their staff well and market and donate to charity. But if you're selling a 200 rand sneaker for 250, 300 rand, you don't have much wiggle room. When your workers are saying, but look at the Buntu employees, you're like, are you fucked? Our sneakers are 300 bucks. If you're selling 1,000 rand mug, your customers who are buying these 1,000 rand mugs, in their business operations, there's some form of slavery somewhere.
That's true.
If you're not going to enslave yourself, if you're not going to enslave others, you enslave yourself. And that's where the Pakistanis in South Africa win. You need to find a black South African that is willing to wake up at 5:30 inside a container that is a spaza shop.
Is that possible?
He sleeps there. He pots there in a dish. He wakes up there at 5:30 so that he can open at 6. And then he stays inside that hot container. There's no aircon. There's no free Wi-Fi. And, you know, we've got subsidized cafeteria. There are no labor laws. No, you must only work 40 hours a week from 6 in the morning until 10 o'clock at night. That's 16 hours in a hot container. Selling knickknacks, cigarette loose, bread at the thinnest of margins. And you do that every single day. Almost 365 days. There's no public holiday. There's no Christmas and whatever. The only time you maybe leave and Nakona you swap with another guy is when you're going to mosque. Black South Africans are not going to do that. And the guys that are doing that now, over time, these 50 cents, 10 cents, 1 rand, when they collectively put them together, you might find that in a group of 10 guys, they're turning 2 million a month. But the Pakistanis, you're like, are you willing to enslave yourself? Are you willing to go down a mine shaft? It's your father's mine. But he's saying, no, Ubuntu's going to go down. I'm not going to hire a guy from Malawi or Mozambique, a slave. My son is going to be the slave because we're trying to build. But the conditions, it's fine. We're trying to build. We're not going to do that. Someone has to do it. In America, the blacks were the slaves. And then the blacks got freedom. The white Americans needed to get the slave labor elsewhere. And then the illegal Mexicans came in. In South Africa, when the blacks were freed after apartheid, they needed new slave labor, Zimbabweans, Mozambicans, you know, like there will always be a slave labor in the system that we have. 2-3 months is nothing. I don't even think that's a short course. Short course is 6 months. I've burnt in business and I've realized that I'm not good. I don't know how long it took you to realize that you're good in cricket. Because I wanted to contrast the business and the cricket.
Okay.
I don't know if you can give me a quick answer.
Ooh, cricket took me
From when you started playing to when you're like, actually, I'm good.
maybe like a year, 2 years.
2 years.
2 years, yeah.
So for a lot of other kids, we start playing rugby at under 9 or earlier, Beliki's rugby. And then when you get to under 12, 13, where there's like Craven Week, you're like, I think I'm actually good. I run around these white boys and I bounce them. And then later on, when you get to under 16, under 18, Gran Homo Week and Craven Week, and the Sharks and the Bulls are considering signing you, like, actually, I'm fucking dope. Now, with the schooling system, now kids start at grade triple R, double R, grade 1. But anyways, we'll speak. Yeah. Hey, you don't have kids?
Nope.
Shame, man. You'll learn these things.
What do you mean? Shame.
No, I'm saying shame.
Not yet.
Oh, not yet. Thank you. Grade 1 to grade 12 is 12 years.
Yeah.
There's no, you're going to make money in grade 6, grade 9. It's 12 years of go put in the craft, put your head down. And not only are you going to put your head down, you're going to have to pay for it. And then after that, I'm going to be rich. Nope. Another 3, 4, 5 years of tertiary. And then you have to go work. And then maybe in work, you'll intern, graduate program, 3, 4 years. And then you'll be like, I think I'm good at this corporate thing. I've gotten a promotion. How many years has that been? 20 years?
Yes, yeah.
In business, we started business today. I bought 5 scooters. I'm going to, week 1, where's my money?
Yeah.
I tell people now that whatever business you want to start, even something like your music, give yourself at least 3 to 5 years. Not only are you going to make zero money, you're going to have to whip out your own money because you're in school.
You're being dead.
You can call it debt.
Yeah.
Because we incur debt and tertiary. Some people at school level, if you're sending your kids to private schools, 3 to 5 years, be like, look, I'm going to burn because of 2 things. Number 1, I want to learn. That is more important than the money. I want to learn. Number 2, I want to see if I'm good. There are people that have been running businesses for 20, 30, 40 years who suck, but they don't know. All they know is this is all I have. It pays my kids' school fees, etc. Oh, mama has been selling a plate by the taxi ranks for 30 years. Her kids are now at tertiary. She sucks because if she was good, the next brainiac kid starts with a plate in the first 6 months, like, I think I can get people to do these for me. Goes and hires old mama to push the plates and then he does the supply. And then he's like, actually, I think I can do the supply. They set up a little thing and now they're like, I don't supply my women. I supply all the women that sell.
True.
And it's like, actually, I think I can maybe manufacture. I can get into farming. I'll supply them. And they're like, within 5, 10 years, that kid is like, do you know that we supply 80% of the women that from the meat to the, you're like, in fact, that person is good. That's the kid who picks up a cricket bat and then in 2 years, they're like, oh, provincial. You're like, are you smoking? This guy's got private coach after private coach. This kid just comes through it. I don't have a bat. Hey, Mark, lend me your bat. Moves a few 6s like, fuck, bro. Talented. There are people that are naturally talented in business. It takes time. 3 to 5 years, see if you're good in a genre, in music, in a certain business, and then go try another one because business is like sports. Dog, I played cricket for 2 months. I realized I suck. That's why I'm like, you can't tell me you suck in cricket after 2 months.
True.
I think I'm going to go play soccer, dog. This cricket thing is not fucking working. I couldn't get a bat.
But also, I do think it's important to know, no matter when you find out you suck. Right? Like
that's where mentorship is going to come in.
Like I knew within, as I said, in my first 2-3 months, like, yo, I'm terrible at this entrepreneurship thing.
You weren't terrible, you just didn't know.
Yeah, then I identified that, right? There's, as you say, there's people that have been doing that 40 years that have not, it hasn't hit them that like, yo, bro, this is a wrong way to do this thing. Right? This is not how you do it. Right? So I think also those conversations with yourself are so vital. And
with mentors.
Yeah.
Because you may not know that you suck. And you've been in debt for 8 years. Some people have a bleeding business for 8 years and they never let go and some of them take their lives. How long was your cricket career from when you started?
It wasn't mighty long. I started playing cricket in grade 3, grade 4, grade 3.
Sure.
So I was probably like 9.
Sure.
And then...
You stopped playing?
I stopped playing after matric first year.
19.
Yeah.
10 years.
Yeah. So, I mean, also I had the advantage of, I always played with my older brother. So my older brother was like 3 years older than me. He is 3 years older than me. So I would always be bowling to him.
Sure.
Right. And then that kind of not knowing, like, in me, I'm trying to get him. I'm trying to get him, not knowing I'm not going to be playing with his age.
You want to be playing with kids.
Yeah. Right. And one of the maybe a lesson out of this, my dad used to drop me at school an hour and a half before school starts, right? Which is like, this is like normal parenting thing.
It is normal.
Right? If you can't, if he's like, you can take the train, then you can get to school 5 minutes before school starts, right? Or I can drop you, but bro, I gotta beat traffic also. So he'll drop me off at school an hour and a half before the time, right? And he used to fetch me an hour and a half after, right? Which is like after traffic. He'd be like, I'll drop you before traffic and fetch you after traffic. So I was at school an hour and a half before school starts, and I was at school an hour to 2 hours after school ended, right? And I would always complain, like, bro, like, timer, like, I'm the first one there, bro. I'm there. I'm opening the gate with the guy. I'm there, right? And he was like, yo, you're playing this cricket thing, right? So then go play cricket. Like, go train that hour and a half before school starts, go train. That hour and a half after school ends, go train. Because the one thing that's not going to change is I'm not coming to school any earlier or dropping you any later. So I could have used that situation to say, I got an hour and a half, I can either chill, I can do whatever. But that then made me focus on the sports side of things. That made me focus on the cricket. That made me be better because of the situation that I was in. So I guess the lesson in that is, it doesn't matter what fucking cards you dealt. It doesn't matter what cards you dealt. You gotta figure out a way to make it work. I became good at cricket because I was being dropped off early.
Sure. Do we have time? I'm worried about time, and I know I'm gonna speak forever if I start. Do we still have time?
Decide time.
Shit, okay.
So,
Uti, sometimes business chats get me excited, man.
So for me, that's the most important thing, right? Is you need to, as I said, man, one, there's something a friend of mine, guy sitting there actually, Sipo said, he was like, bro, like, we were watching Hizo, right, in the week. And he was like, bro, like, yo, we like a sensitive generation. Like, all the shit was happening then, right? But and he didn't use the word sensitive. He said we're dramatic.
Yeah.
He's like, we're dramatic, bro. We think we're the first one to go through this. We're the first. Bro, you're not the first one. That is the reality. You're not the first one. You're not the last one. But you can do something about it. There's nothing new under the sun. You can do something about it. So for me, it was like, yo, that's like, bro, like, I'm dropping you off an hour and a half. That's not going to change.
Sure.
Focus on what you can change. Focus on what you can change. I'm dropping and I'm picking up an hour later. Focus on what you can change. So that would be a lesson I would definitely give to anybody else also that feels like, oh, it's difficult and it's just, there's too many factors that aren't allowing me, or time, or factors that are not allowing me to do what I want to do. But it's like, yo, bro, that's for everybody. We need to have different ways of showing it.
We need to sit at another point and then speak about maybe the music industry and then your music dreams. Because I want us to shut this down in the next 10, 15 minutes and just close it off with this business chat. Few things. I'm glad you highlighted it because I was going to point it out that your dad was giving you an extra 3 hours of training that the other kids wouldn't have. And I think it's also what makes some of these Kenyan, Ethiopian runners great.
Yeah.
That privilege through struggle.
Yeah.
Where you're like, my dad would make me run 5 kilometers to school. And you're like,
but a trauma, bro.
That's why you're a super athlete. You're a super athlete because your dad made you run.
Like that. I'm sorry to say it like that. That little bit of trauma, right? If you just take away with just enough, if you just take away the bad connotations, I guess, the bad energy that comes with those words, right? Man, you'd be shocked at what you unlock. Honestly, you'd be shocked at what you unlock, and that by the time I was then playing with kids my age, I was
fucking them up.
Bro, because I'm 12 years old training with first team people, 13 years old training with first team people. So by the time I'm grade 10, I can bowl 130 kilometers an
Jeez. Coloureds, especially in the Western
hour.
Cape.
Exactly.
The coloureds in the Western Cape a lot of them from impoverished backgrounds.
Yeah.
And they have similar disadvantages where they don't have access to like great sporting facilities, and a lot of them have to kind of wait for their parents to come back from work or whatever. And circumstance, kind of like you and your brother, which is pretty dope, having an older person that you can kind of gauge with. It's like if your older brother had been in business for a while and he's watching you complain about your Uber Eats business and he's laughing. The coloureds in the Western Cape, in my opinion, are the greatest rugby players in the country.
Really?
And among some of the greatest rugby players in the world, in my opinion.
Okay.
And I think, especially at a school level, the reason why coloured kids literally dance around the opposition is because young boys, 10, 11, 12, play rugby at school, other kids. And then after school, because they don't have anything to do, maybe go join a gang or whatever.
Come on.
They go and they join clubs.
Yeah.
And they play club rugby with old niggas.
Yeah.
First of all, you're 13 playing with 17, 18-year-olds. And then at some point, you're 14, 15, and you're playing with a timer. And some of these timers maybe went pro. They played for Western Province. Some knocked on the Springboks. And you're on the field. And because you're the smallest guy there, you become like the weakest link. Everyone wants to knock you down.
Yeah.
And because you're small, in their opinion, you can't outrun them. So you're forced at a young age with all this extra rugby that you're playing all the time to play against old people. You're forced to be hard and tackle big old niggas and to try and outrun them.
Yeah.
As a 16-year-old playing club rugby with gents that played Western Province and on the weekend, every weekend, and then you have to go back to school and play with 16-year-olds.
Yeah.
It's so unfair. You look at them and you're like, nah, gents.
Yeah.
These are lighties. And you're like, what the fuck do you mean? You're 16. You're like,
Not the
They're
same.
like, give me the biggest O here.
Yeah.
I'm going to tackle the biggest O here. Because
Yeah.
last week I tackled the O who used to play for the Stormers, who's huge.
Oh.
So this guy is nothing.
Yeah, true.
So they literally dance around these guys. And then the other thing was the exposure to playing at a higher level. Yanni Mouton, who was the founder, I think he was the founder, one of the founders of PSG, which is a $1 billion investment company. They invested in Curo, they invested in Capitec when it started, and some other companies. He speaks about, I think they had a farm, I stand to be corrected. He speaks about how his dad had to go and I think they had a shop as well. His dad would have to go to the shop or do some farming work. So after school, because they didn't have the internet and TV, his father used to invest in stocks. And he'd have to check how his stocks are doing every day by phoning. And he'd make Yanni phone and write down and then start calculating, did our stocks go up and down by what percentage? And he said he learned how to trade stocks just through that.
That's crazy.
And in the same way, you started playing cricket at 9 till 19, that 10 years. I was going to ask, imagine if you started business.
At that,
Selling your more fires and stuff at 9 till 19 and how you would have grown. And now what makes the Muslims, the Indian Arab Muslims and the Jewish kids so dope is from a young age, they are exposed like Yanni Mouton to trading, businesses, the stock market. You have to be at the shop.
Yeah.
After school, instead of your dad saying, I'll pick you up after traffic, it's like, I'm not going to pick you up. You have to come to the shop.
Yeah.
And we'll only go home when the shop closes at 6.
Yeah.
You can do some homework, but then I need help. You're going to have to do cashier work. You're going to have to speak to the staff. You have to deal with customer service.
Yeah.
That little Indian boy, little Indian girl, maybe from age 12 till 18, that experience in business, learning cashing up, seeing the father fire employees, hiring employees, people break in. Hey, we had a good month. We had a bad month. The accountant is here. The lawyer is here. We're moving to another. By the time they go into business, bro, and then you're coming to compete as Umafiki Zolo with your empathy and Ubuntu, they look at you like you're a child.
Yeah.
And a lot of their parents, when they start, because of they've been in this game, the sport of business for so long. When you're like, I want to start this business, they're like, do you have an accountant? Do you have a tax advisor? Do you have a lawyer? Can't afford that stuff. They're like, oh, okay, I remember when we started, we couldn't afford. These are the people that offer this for free, for cheap.
Yeah.
You went to varsity. Yeah, you've got friends, most that study accounting and tax. Let them advise you. You can buy them a beer or whatever, you know. Draft your system. Have you registered your company? Register, come for no. You have to. Who's your banker?
True.
Who's my banker?
Yeah.
Okay,
All these
you are
questions.
nobody. I'm your father. I'm your uncle. I'll give you my banker. I'll tell him it's my boy. He says he wants to be in business. Help him out. Give him a bit of funding. Maybe I'll stand surety for the funding. All those advantages, by the time you have to play, we're not playing the same game.
Yeah.
That's why when this kid comes in to sell food on the street, within 5 years he's built an empire. You're still selling food on the street and you're making just enough to get by.
Yeah.
But you have to give yourself time. You have to get the mentors and you have to, I hope I didn't forget anything. Yeah, you have to get the mentors and you have to, the thing about life is, you spoke about betting on yourself. Like, you have to understand that this is a game.
Very true.
We come out here and none of us make it out alive. We're all going to die. In case people don't know, guys, we're all going to die. Guys, we want to die.
Yeah.
We're actually all going to die.
Yeah.
So between birth and death, try to have a good time.
Yeah.
Try to have a fucking good time. And whether it's cricket, whether it's Uber Eats, whether it's music, whether it's at the casino, whether it's whatever, try and have a good time. Otherwise, it's not worth it.
100%.
I don't know if you have any closing words before we shut it down.
Honestly, I would say focus on, if there's any other thing you can take away out of this, is focus on your mental fitness. Focus on, it's so important. Focus on your mental fitness. I know there's all these words that get thrown around and all these things that we're in a world where it's a very, very difficult time right now. But as a man, as in daughter, you cannot afford to be mentally weak. I'm not saying you can't afford to have mental problems, mental health. That's another conversation. I'm saying you cannot afford to be mentally weak. You cannot afford to be mentally weak. No matter what it is, focus on your mental fitness, right? Get up at whatever time you need to get up. Not want to get up, but need to get up, right? Go to the gym. Focus on yourself. Work on yourself. Work on yourself. Work on yourself. Because nobody is coming.
Shit. Let's shut it down. Thank you for coming through, Slim.